I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. President Obama and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren are in a war of words over a Pacific Rim trade treaty. Warren is calling out the White House for their lack of details on the trade talks. She wants legal experts to use to determine if the deal would weaken U.S. bank rules and potentially pull back on Wall Street reforms. Here with reaction are political strategist David Mercer and Robert O'Brien. Welcome to you both.
Good to be with you, Lauren.
Good morning.
All right, David, let me get your reaction first to this back and forth between Obama and Warren. What do you make of it?
Well, I make of it that you see this kind of hashing out on the issues before legislation goes into a vote or passage. I believe that it will get done, at least in the Senate in the coming 24 hours or next day. And I think, there are some differences of opinion that we see in the back and forth between the president and senator. But at the same time, I would remind everybody that with a president that has created nearly 7.3 million jobs in his tenure at office, that he's not trying to put that in jeopardy or the restoration of the economy and more people getting jobs with a trade bill that doesn't promote also job growth.
Robert, so what do you make of this sort of left on more left conflict?
Well, it's nice to see that happening on the other side of the aisle. I think we've got maybe a little dawn of some bipartisanship here. I'm actually surprisingly on Fox supporting President Obama this morning. This trade deal is an important deal for America. It's an Asia-Pacific century. The 21st century is going to be defined by investment and commerce and trade and growth in Asia-Pacific. And one of the great blessings that we have as Americans is that we're a Pacific power. I'm sitting here in Los Angeles on the coast of the Pacific Ocean, and this is a wonderful opportunity for America to continue to lead in the 21st century. And we can either do it by being involved with our friends and allies abroad, and this is a 12-nation pact, the TPP, spanning nations from Chile to New Zealand, to Australia, to Vietnam, to Japan, and others. We can be leaders, and we can help set the rules so that we have fair labor rules and fair environmental rules and fair economic rules, or we can abandon the playing field to China. And I don't think Senator Warren or anybody else wants China to set the rules for whether it's capital market regulation or labor or environment or anything else in the 21st century.
David, let me ask you this. But Warren is concerned the Wall Street reforms could be weakened if this deal passes. Does she have cause to believe that?
I don't believe so. I think it's a hypothetical, and I think there are protections in the trade agreements against that. And I might add to Robert's point that it's even beyond the 12 nations that he alluded to in the TPP or the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's also the trade agreement with the European Union. And if I might highlight another point, and that is that we're setting standards, and through the leadership of the United States and President Obama and this administration, setting standards across the global economy, which is good for all. It's good in uplifting those standards and welfare of those in those countries, but at the same time, it brings an equilibrium, if you will, to the standards that we function by, both as workers and others. And so I think it knits together the economy in a hopefully seamless way and in a tighter way to avoid conflicts in the future.
But Robert, isn't it kind of harmless though when she says, "I just want let's look at it. Let's have the lawyers look at it. Let's parse it out." Why would that not be acceptable?
Well, it's funny because Nancy Pelosi said with respect to Obamacare, we have to pass it before we can know what's in it, and now we've got one of her liberal colleagues taking a different view here. But there's no question that the senators and the congressmen can read the bill. They can go into a secure room and read it. Of course, that means they have to go do it themselves and not send their staffers to read it for them. But it's available. And keep in mind that this is just fast-track authority. So when the TPP comes up before the Senate will have the opportunity to approve or reject the bill. And so the Senate will engage in a robust debate. I have no doubt about it. But, again, one of the things that I've supported the president on is the pivot to Asia, the pivot to the Pacific. And we generally talk about that in military terms, that we're moving 60% of the naval fleet to the Pacific. And those are important things, but we also have to pivot economically, and we have to pivot culturally. And some of the great cultural things that we can bring to bear in the Asia-Pacific region are things like the rule of law and transparency and fair financial regulation. And so, again, I'm a little nervous that I'm agreeing with David so often this morning, but this is an area where we can lead from the front, not lead from behind, and I'm happy to see that the President's working with Leader McConnell and Republicans to get this passed.
Well, I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for you to disagree with David in the future, so we'll leave this today. All right, thanks so much, David and Robert. Check with FoxNews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.